One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The spacesuit that protected Neil Armstrong during that historic moment spent the last decade in a very confined space, far from the moon. But this morning, the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum hopes to put it back on display by turning to simpler technology. Kris Van Cleave is inside the museum in Washington to show us how you can help tailor the future. Kris, good morning.
Good morning. These spacesuits are actually replicas. The challenge with the real deal is they were only supposed to last about 6 months. 46 years later, some of the 24 different materials that make up the suit are starting to decay. The spacesuit that took one giant leap for mankind, there's a nick down here, is showing its age.
Capcom, we're go for landing.
In 1969, the world watched as Neil Armstrong became the first man to walk on the moon, and he did it in this. But before the Smithsonian can take the small step of putting it back on display, Lisa Young's got some very expensive work to do.
Time is taking its toll, and it's to the layers you don't see. So the interior rubber bladder is becoming brittle and is breaking. You see a visible change in the materials themselves.
This is your chance to be a part of history.
Marking the 46th anniversary of Apollo 11's moon landing, the National Air and Space Museum launched a Kickstarter crowdfunding effort to, in their words,
reboot the suit.
64% of the Smithsonian's $1.3 billion budget comes from the federal government, the rest from donors and grants. Crowdfunding is a new frontier for the institution as it hopes to raise $500,000 in 30 days to fund the preservation of Armstrong's historic spacesuit. The museum's hope is the campaign builds a connection with those who weren't around to watch it live. Just don't get too close to the suit. Can I touch it?
No.
The work will take 3 years and require X-rays and CT scans to make a complete 3D digital scan of the suit that can live on forever. Armstrong's Apollo 11 suit joined the Smithsonian's collection in 1976, but hasn't been on display for the last 10 years. The goal is to have it ready for the lunar landing's 50th anniversary in 2019.
The real key to the story of that spacesuit is the man that was inside of it and what it did to help him explore this other world.
Professor James Hansen is Armstrong's official biographer.
Along with that spacesuit and its story, I think the story of Neil Armstrong, who he was, why was he chosen, I think that the Smithsonian and its curators are very wise in knowing that that's a two-part story that needs to be told.
There he is. There's a foot coming down the steps.
A story that, with your help, will be told again and again, allowing generations of stargazers to experience that one man's one small step.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And in just over the first 24 hours of this online fundraising effort, they've already surpassed $170,000 and counting. Gail?
Oh, that's great. It's good that you're working to save it.
I just want to do a shout out for the Smithsonian. It is such a wonderful place, and our history is there.